Everything we do for fun nowadays is simply a masturbation of our primal needs and desires. All of us men have the fantasy that one day we'll be tested, that one day we'll be thrust into a dire world where everything we do matters and every choice we make is truly important. There are no wars, there's no enemy to fight, there's no opportunity to exercise our duty to protect. We go to the gym to work out, but that's just a substitute for physical work. We don't have to worry about being hungry. Welfare and social assistance programs provide safety nets. Diseases that wiped out populations in the past are now treatable, and people recover fully from injuries that would have been fatal 100 years ago. We literally have problems like epidemic obesity, where people are able to sit in their home and eat until they are so fat that they can't move. Like, that's the kind of problems we have now in this world that lacks risk and responsibility. The goal of civilization seems to be to eliminate work and risk, but our bodies crave work and sex. Our minds crave risk and conflict. People aren't actually very good or very interested in a world without conflict. The films only become meaningful when there's a battle to fight or something to overcome. We only enjoy these movies and TV shows when there's revelations, when there's risk, mixed emotions, conflict, and now we love to imagine inventive ways to masturbate our primal natures with safe, virtual, and abstract pleasures. Our society has almost no tolerance for unsanctioned violence. Children are expelled from school for fighting, and something as historically common as a weaponless drunken brawl can land men in court or jail. As we begin to child-proof our world, we ban guns and regulate violent sports. Men retreat to video games and fantasy football because it's all they have left. People seek out other non-violent forms of simulated risk and safe adventure, like skydiving and bungee jumping. People are coming up with more and more ways to simulate the primitive human experience. Men long for real competition, real risk, and the potential for real status gains. The carefully orchestrated, sanitized, padded, insured, and permitted exercise rarely compares to the fantasy of virile action and meaningful risk. In video games, men experience virtual death. The modern world offers average men 1,001 ways to safely tickle our monkey brains. Only a few people will actually do things that actually matter. Maybe you can be the guy who helps some soulless global corporation gain a bit more money, but no matter how hard you work or how many birthday cards you get, you'll forever know that you are completely replaceable as a unit of labor. In the grand scheme of things, a legal entity can't care if you live or die, or if you're happy. Maybe you can busy yourself trying to master the art of erasing your own carbon footprint, or you can bike to work. Maybe you pay someone to let you run a race, or climb some fake, colorful rocks with a safety harness, or you can just watch someone else do it on TV. Maybe you get pissed about some petty inequity or injustice and participate in some non-violent resistance, and then you convince yourself that you're making a difference by standing in the same place with other people shouting angrily at people who don't care. Or you can just get on Reddit and play the anonymous tough guy, and then you can spend all your money on video games that give you the thrill of slaughtering hordes of an imaginary enemy. And then there are always hobbies. You can find yourself something harmless and inoffensive to pass the time. Maybe you can do gardening, you can start a band or fool around with cars, you can get dressed up in costumes and do some live action role playing. If your life is all about chasing fun, is that enough? Is all of this peace and plenty worth the cost? How long will men be satisfied to replay and reinvent the conflict dramas of the past without the hope of experiencing any meaningful conflict in their own life? When will we grow tired of hearing the stories of great men who are now dead? How long can our ego tolerate knowing that our ancestors were simply stronger men, more courageous men, and knowing that this heritage of strength survives in us, but that our potential for manly virtue, or strength, honor, courage will all be wasted, and we will never truly be tested? You know, when I put it like that, it's kind of scary. This is such a strange and niche thing to talk about, and I haven't really heard anybody identify this in themselves. But I think we all know it's true, and we all do feel it. The fantasy of needing to be tested, and the fantasy of being thrown into a world where everything matters. Maybe that's why zombie apocalypse shows are so intriguing and interesting, because we really want every choice we make to matter. We want to be important, and we want to be capable, and we want to prove that. There's a quote from The Walking Dead: "In a world ruled by the dead, we are finally forced to start living. With our immense fear of failure, chasing our dreams, risking everything, it's unrealistic. It's irresponsible because we have a family to take care of. So we have to follow the conventional path filled with safety nets for us." It very much scares me that most people would dedicate their entire lives to making money through the conventional path and never ever experience wealth, never ever experience making their dreams come true. They will constantly stimulate their life with fun, to distract them from the fact that they are never really tested throughout their entire life, and what they do really didn't matter. That absolutely scares me, and that hurts me to the core, and I am terrified. I am so terrified. I think that risk is something we all have to take for our life to matter. I think we must sacrifice, and we must be afraid. There must be choices we make that we genuinely fear its outcome. Otherwise, what meaning is there to our life? What weight does our life carry? Being safe and comfortable can only be ideal for so long, but once we have plentiful source of food with a system that protects us and we're comfortable, we will realize the weight and the hurt of never really making an impact. It's hard to come up with a solution to this fear, but what I will do from today onwards is I will go after what I want, and I will study the risks. As long as the risk isn't going to leave me irreparable, I will let my experiences teach me from right and wrong. I will stand for what I genuinely believe in. I will develop confidence in my ideas by discussing it with people and risk disagreements. I will risk rejection, and I will risk offending others and chase the things I want and chase the person I want to become. My ideals will never be pushed around by people's obsession with righteousness, indifference, or moral high ground. We gotta sacrifice ourselves to an ideal in order to actually matter, in order to give our choices weight. I want to be remembered, and I'm going to do my best to be deserving of that honor. To better world.